Khalid ibn al-Walid is widely known for being an Arab Muslim commander. While we still don't know when he was born exactly, the date of his death is 642, since it was recorded in writing. With that being said, he played a significant role in things like the Ridda Wars or the Byzantine-Syria battles. He was not a wealthy man, but he had a very good eye for doing the right thing and truly pushing the boundaries and coming up with creative ways to show off his craft. Khalid ibn al-Walid's father was an arbitrator. He was managing local disputes in Hijaz. He was part of the Banu Midzam, which was a clan pertaining to the Quraysh tribe. It was also pertaining to the aristocracy, albeit the one before the Islamic era. With that in mind, his tribe was credited for a variety of things. They were the ones that added Meccan commerce to people from other markets. They were also wealthy. They were noble and extremely intelligent. Khalid ibn al-Walid's father, in particular, was highly regarded as a powerful man with a really good standing. The same can be said about Khalid too. Even from his early days, he had a very good image within the entire clan. The interesting thing about his tribe is that they were opposed to Muhammad in the beginning. In fact, his first cousin that was the leader of the clan was boycotting the Muhammad clan. Actually, their tribe entered a war against Muhammad. At that time, Muhammad went from Mecca towards Medina in 622. Eventually, they entered the Battle of Badr in 624. A few weeks after the battle, the paternal cousins of Khalid ibn al-Walid were mostly killed during the entire process. The next year after that, Khalid and the son of Abu Jahl entered the Battle of E.U.B.A towards the northern part of Medina. The interesting thing is that we got to see Khalid's tactics in action. Instead of attacking them from the front, they ended up attacking by going around the mountain and bypassing the flank of Muslims. After going forward, the Muslims ended up getting advantage because they had archers on the Mount Ruma. But despite the early advantage, they did not end up winning everything. After the archers went to join the others, Khalid ended up charging against the rear defensive part. That's when they managed to eliminate quite a lot of the army. Many credit Khalid for being a military genius because he managed to pull off this kind of attack. It was definitely something different and certainly unseen until that point. But that's what managed to make this entire approach unique, and they really managed to pull that off without any issues. Muhammad and some followers went to Mecca in order to do the Umrah, and he did not confront Khalid. Instead, took a more difficult route. Khalid went to Mecca, and eventually they ended up with a truce in 628. It was a rather tough time, but a very important step, all thanks to the Treaty of E.U.B.A. In 629, he ended up embracing the Islam and went to Medina after that treaty. With that in mind, he became a Muslim and he went there in order to live there. He started sharing his military talents and expertise at that time, which was a very important aspect to take into consideration. Another thing to note here is the fact that he went in the Mu'tah expedition. It was a raid designed to get booty from the Sasanian Persian army. Khalid ibn al-Walid actually took command here and managed to withdraw his team of people to safety. This is when he was awarded by Muhammad with an honorary title at that time. Later that year, and early 630, he assisted Muhammad in capturing Mecca. He was the leader for one of the two main attacks towards the city. He also defeated the Thaqif later that year. Khalid also had to destroy the Al-Uzza idol, which was a very important religious establishment for the Nakhla area. He was also appointed to invite to Islam other tribes in the region. Due to misunderstandings, he attacked them. Despite not doing the right thing in this situation, Khalid did not end up being punished by Muhammad in any way. With that being said, he was also focused on capturing Dumat al-Jandal, which was a very important oasis town at that time. He captured it and also brought a penalty onto the inhabitants. Of course, he also had the job of inviting others to embrace Islam, with the Balharith tribe actually doing that in the end. When that happened, most Arabian tribes did not stand with the allegiance to the Muslim state. Abu Bakr became the Muslim leader, and that's when he started working with Khalid ibn al-Walid. Khalid was actually dispatched to the Battle of the Najd tribes at that time. There were 6 main conflict zones. 2 were theirs. Khalid maintained the directive and guidelines that was imposed by his leader, and he did not follow that suit in a proper manner. That really goes to show the dedication that he had to his leader. He did operate independently, which made it a lot easier than ever for most people under his command to just do the right thing. The Battle of Bazooka is a very important example of his tactics and prowess. He was able to battle a multitude of powerful enemies. After dealing with that, he started battling the Tamimite chieftain. He was appointed by Muhammad to be the collector of tax in that region. With that being said, Khalid encountered Malik and some of his troops. Khalid ibn al-Walid executed all his troops, and he also killed the chieftain. One of the interesting things about Khalid ibn al-Walid is that after pacifying Yamama, he went to capture the Sasanian territory in the lower Mesopotamia at that time. With that being said, the remaining parts of his army had only Arabs from the environs. At that time, Khalid was focused on the Euphrates River for resources, and more particularly the western banks. The first main battle in that place was E.U.B.A, where Khalid managed to win. On top of that, he went onward to the western bank and battled Sasanian garrisons. He did capture Al-Hira, which a lot of people believe to be a major capture during his campaign. He battled the cavalry, and then he entered the unwalled city. With that in mind, his army was also battling the villages in that region. They eventually captured the city, and the city was paying a tribute of up to 90,000 silver dirhams every year. He went to the Majr Rahid meadow north of Damascus, right after the army went onward through the desert. He got there on Easter Day in 634. He assaulted a Ghassanid group at that time. With that being said, he and other Muslim commanders went in Palestine and joined Amr for the Battle of Ajnadin. The other part of the forces went to Damascus, where they started keeping the city under siege. Another important battle that Khalid ibn al-Walid took part in was the Battle of Yarmouk. In 636, he took his forces and marched towards Jabia. With that being said, they did go to the Ruqad west and kept the high ground between current Dera and the Dera E.U.B. In order to get the right results during this battle, he split the cavalry to protect his forces from any enemy attacks. He also used the archers wisely, since he put them aside and used them when the enemies were very vulnerable. In 638, it was said that Khalid ibn al-Walid was distributing war spoils and he was dismissed. And he also complained that he was not treated fairly or properly. In the end, he died in 642, and many expressed remorse over him being dismissed. People see Khalid ibn al-Walid as a tactical genius and one of those persons that ended up doing a lot of great things during his time with Muhammad. He was also able to divide and separate armies in order to win pretty much every battle. With that being said, he was creative and knew how to tackle each battle in order to win. That's the reason why many still consider him to be a tactical genius even today. He is impressing a lot of people with his prowess and his unique history. With that in mind, many still continued using his tactics after his death, a true way to honor his legacy.